You are listening to Calm AF, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about the number one thing that's keeping you from unlocking your next level. This is the number one thing that's keeping you from really, truly stepping in, embodying, achieving that future self version of yourself, that potential that you know you're capable of. You've done the work, you've built the career or the skills or the network. And on paper, it all looks good. You're already successful. But deep down, you know that there is another level for you. There is more for you. You're ready to go bigger. You're ready to lead better, or simply enjoy this life that you have worked so hard to build. So what's stopping you? It's not your talent. It's not your skill set. It's not your resources. It's not your past. It's not your strategy. It's your mindset. That's it. Because here's the truth. At the highest levels of success, mindset is your greatest asset. It is, hands down, what separates the people who stay stuck in good enough or at a level they know is easy for them from those who really step into their full potential. So let's talk about this invisible ceiling that some people just have a hard time breaking through. I'm going to tell you a story about a client. Her name is, we'll call her Emma. She is one of my private clients. She's been with me for, more than 5 years now. She's a high achiever. She's a high performer. She's super ambitious in her career. Over the years since I've known her, she is consistently the number one person in her company, in her position. I know that's a little vague, but I'm changing some details here. So she knew that her current place of employment was not moving in the way that was aligned for her. She wasn't liking where things were heading. So a few months ago, she started having conversations with people she knew in her network, recruiters, just to see what else was out there. And a few weeks ago, we had a call because she had 3 different options and she was really struggling to decide which one was the best fit. So there was the first option, which was a job that she knew she would be really good at. It was a really safe option, but she wasn't at all excited about it. It would really kind of be a parallel move, possibly eliminating some of the obstacles and the issues that were going on at her current job, but really just a parallel move, which would have been fine. The second job was a role that she knew she could get in there and probably quickly make a shit ton of money, but it didn't align with what she actually wanted to do. Like, it was far from what she actually wanted to do. And then the third option was, honestly, her dream job. This is the company that I have heard her talk about. She has been eyeing it for years. It really had all of the things that she wanted. She knew it was a company that would give her great financial security. It would challenge her in the best ways. There was a lot of opportunity for movement within it, to movement up. And it really aligned with her personal goals as well as fulfilling her career vision. So she's telling me these 3 options and I'm like, it seems obvious, right? So yes, in her logical brain, she knew that going after option number 3, her dream job, was the obvious choice, but emotionally, she just couldn't bring herself to go all in. And so she really thought she was confused about this. So I asked her why you wouldn't just set your sights on what you really wanted. And she answered me like, well, what if I don't get it? What if I go all in and I tell people and people know about this and then I don't get this job, the one that I've always wanted? And this is so common. Like, so many ambitious women, she had learned that it's okay to show ambitious. It's okay to be driven, but only if success is guaranteed, right? Anything less than that feels too risky, too exposed, too vulnerable. What will people think if I am ambitious and I go after my goal unapologetically, and then I fail. She had spent her entire life being the best at everything, making sure everyone knew she was competent, capable, worthy. She'd spent her entire life not doing things that she wasn't sure she was going to be the best at. She spent her life controlling people's opinions of her, and it wasn't just a habit, it was a survival skill learned in childhood. But now that survival skill was keeping her from stepping into her full potential and getting her dream. And this is that invisible ceiling that so many high achievers hit. This fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being seen as less than keeps them playing small, even when their dreams are literally right in front of them. So Emma didn't need more qualifications. She didn't need to learn new skills. She didn't need to take another course or get another degree. She didn't need a better resume. What she needed to allow herself to really tap into her next level was to shift her mindset, to stop acting and thinking like the version of herself who was afraid to fail, and start thinking like the version of herself who already had this job. It's what I call an upleveled identity shift. Because at a certain point in your career, in your life, it's no longer about proving yourself. You've done it. You've put in the hours. You've shown the results. You have earned your seat at the table. And yes, I'm talking about career, but I'm also talking about everything else. You've already done what you need to do. You don't need to prove anything. Now you need to step into the truth of who you are. The version of you who has already achieved your goals doesn't second guess herself. She doesn't settle for what's safe. She knows what she wants. And she's willing to go after it, even if it means being uncomfortable or facing uncertainty. When Emma started thinking from this place, everything shifted. She stopped overthinking it. She was like, what am I thinking? Of course I'm going to go after this one. She stopped playing it safe. She went after her dream job. She let herself go all in. And spoiler alert, she got it. And not because it magically fell in her lap, but because she let herself believe she was worthy of it, and she let herself go after it with the same ambition she would have gone after a job that she was way overqualified for. So let's talk about this, how to step into your upleveled identity. First, you have to know who that version of you is. You need to know exactly how that version of you shows up in the world, because so many times people are like, well, I think it's this. No, without a clear picture, it's way too easy to default to your old habits, your old fears, and old ways of thinking that have kept you playing small. The truth is, the version of you who is already at your next level exists right now. It's not some far-off fantasy, some unattainable goal. That version of you is within you right now. It's just waiting for you to think the way she does, to step into her shoes. And the more clearly you can see that version of yourself, the more easily you'll be able to embody them. So you want to create a mental picture of your next level self. Here are some questions you can ask yourself. First, what does this version believe about herself? Does she doubt her abilities, or does she trust her decisions? Does she worry incessantly about what other people are thinking? Or does she let them go ahead and think, and she stays focused on her own goals? And this is such a good question. Does that version of you act like someone who's trying to succeed, or someone who has already succeeded? That's such a tiny little shift with a huge impact. The difference between trying to do something and doing it. Your next level self doesn't waste time questioning whether you're good enough. You know you are. You don't need to look outside of yourself for validation because you've already validated yourself. So you can ask yourself, what does this version of me believe about myself? How does this version of me show up in the world? What's the energy I bring into a room? How do I handle challenges and setbacks and uncertainty? Because guess what? All of those things are a part of every version of you, past, current, and future. You can ask what's your body language like as this version? Do you shrink? Do you fade into the background, or do you take up space? Because your next level walks into every room with that calm AF energy. She owns it. She doesn't hustle for attention. She doesn't need to over-explain her worth. She just lets her energy speak for itself. Another question to ask is, what decisions does this version of you make? How do you approach opportunities? Do you settle for safe? Or are you going to be taking risks that align with your vision, with your future goals? And when fear does arise, because it will, does fear drive your choices? Or do you just go ahead and move forward anyway? Your next level self, I promise you, isn't making decisions out of fear, scarcity, or the need to control other people's opinions, what they think of you. That version of you is aligned with her vision, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels risky. And you want to start embodying her today. So once you've asked those questions, you've gotten that mental picture, you start now. The magic of creating the mental picture is that it becomes your guide for how to show up right now, not later. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You do it now. For example, if right now you know one of your patterns that keeps you from your next level is you just don't have time because you are constantly in fixer mode. You are jumping into everyone else's chaos and neglecting your own goals. This is your moment to shift that. If you know it now, shift it now. You start today. You don't wait until you're ready. You begin embodying this future version of you who tells people no, who lets people clean up their own messes and put out their own fires. A little pro tip, we just talked about this last week. If this specific obstacle is yours, you want to check out the Speed of Life coaching session. I talked about it last week. It's designed to coach you in the moment when you are about to abandon yourself again to prioritize someone else. So you can grab that. The link is in the episode notes. Visualizing your next level self, her life, her routines, her choices, helps you align your actions with her energy in real time, right? You can pause and ask, how would that next level version of me handle this moment? And then you do that. So the first step to embodying that version is to know who your next level self is. And the second step is to get comfortable with the discomfort. Growth doesn't feel easy. It's not supposed to. The discomfort that you feel when you are stepping into something bigger isn't a sign that you're not ready, isn't a sign that it's not for you. It's a sign that you're moving in the right direction. I always tell my clients when something happens, if you fail or if you feel scared or nervous, you just say thank you because it's a sign that you are moving into your next level. Instead of trying to avoid the discomfort, you want to learn to lean into it and ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of? Why am I holding myself back? Naming your fear takes away its power. And so many times, once you name it, once you answer that question, you're like, oh, well, I'll just deal with it. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid to fail. Oh, okay. No big deal. I know how to fail. I've failed before. I'll fail again. So answer the question. The reason why I won't shut up about nervous system regulation, it's why I created an entire course dedicated to helping people regulate their nervous system, is that this is the key to being able to feel that discomfort, to be able to tolerate it. If you can't tolerate the discomfort that inevitably comes when you are moving into another level, you cannot and will not be able to uplevel your mindset. It just doesn't happen. Nervous system regulation is a non-negotiable. Neural pathways are not rewired. Your mindset is not rewired when you abandon your new mindset pathway every time something feels uncomfortable. I'm going to take this second step, this get comfortable with the discomfort, and give it its own episode. So just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. All right. The next level self version of you who's thriving at your next level is not perfect. Okay? She still feels fear. She still faces challenges. She still gets uncomfortable when she says no to somebody or when she has to reschedule somebody. But she doesn't let those things define her. Your next level version leads with clarity and confidence and stays aligned with your goals and your values because you know who you are and what you're here to do. So the next time you're holding back, the next time you know, I am ready for my next level version, but just ask yourself, pause and ask yourself, what would my next level self do? And then take the steps that she would take. The more you practice this, the more you will realize that the gap between who you are and who you want to be isn't as wide as you thought. This version of you is already there. It's a mindset shift away. Okay? Now, mindset work is the way. Regulation is that foundation. At the end of the day, the strategies and skills and resources that you have built will only take you so far. It really is your mindset that is going to determine whether you're willing to use them fully. Right? My client didn't land her dream job because she's the smartest. She's very smart. But it's not because she was the smartest or the most experienced candidate. Even though she was highly qualified, she landed it because she had already put in the work, she had earned a seat at the table, and then she landed it because she shifted her mindset to believe that. She stepped into her up-leveled identity, showed up as the version of herself who already knew she belonged. This is the work, and it's the difference between staying stuck and stepping into your full potential. So I'm going to leave you with this. Where in your life are you holding back because it feels too risky? Where are you settling for safe, talking yourself out of your dream, even though it's right in front of you, when you know you're capable of so much more? And most importantly, what would the version of you who has already achieved your goal do next? All right. Thank you for listening. Get out there and step into your next level. Unlock it with your mindset. If you are ready to master your mindset, step into your next level. I have got plenty of resources from quizzes to spot coaching audios like I talked about earlier, to courses, to coaching. Check out the episode notes below, or you can go to kristenfinch.com/podcast and find all the info in this episode. Thank you for listening. I will see you next time. Thanks for listening. And before you go, one more thing. So as you know, I am slightly obsessed with helping as many humans tap into their calm AFness as possible. So if this podcast has helped you, would you please leave a review, make sure you're subscribed, and share it with your friends. Also, make sure you head on over to kristenfinch.com to see how you can work with me. You can sign up for my emails and get any other goodies I have available. Until next week, I love you so much. I am so grateful that you're here. I'll see you next time.